I really hate intros a lot. I do. What we are doing is, I'm going to be summarizing Avatar The Last Airbender, the whole first season. Not to say that it isn't worth watching, but maybe you're busy. If you have not seen Avatar The Last Airbender, you are going to be in for a ride. I suggest maybe just not watching it and just watching this video instead. You can also like and subscribe if you want to. I'm going to give you some backstory just because I feel like this is going to maybe help. The people in this world, most of them, if you're not kind of like lame or like a square, you can do something called bending. So you can bend the elements essentially. The 4 of them, fire, water, air, and earth. Keep that in mind. That's important. This is important. They're a brother and sister, and they both live in the South Arctic. Brother is named Sokka. Sister is named Katara. The sister can waterbend, but nobody is there to train her because the South Pole is tough. Recite the intro. Chat, you do it while I'm going to keep going. You do it. Go, you can just do it over here. Katara and Sokka, they're walking around exploring one day, and they find like a big ball, like a huge ball of ice. And inside of that ball of ice is a little bald kid. The bald kid is very important. He's the protagonist. His name is Aang. Flash. Cut over to something else. There's a boat, and there are people on it that are firebenders. The firebenders in this world suck. They are pretty not great. They do kind of like genocide, kind of like a slavery, like indentured servant type thing, and like they're bad. Fire people are bad. You find out that the people on the boat that you had just saw, one is named Zuko. He is the prince of the Fire Nation, but his dad hates him. He's hella emotional about it. He listens to the used. He's actually been exiled from the Fire Nation. He's not allowed to be there. He's traveling around with his uncle, who is named Iroh. Iroh is, by all accounts, just fucking dope. He does not really vibe with the Fire Nation's evil plans or anything. Okay, so they're on the boat. Back to Aang and Katara and Sokka. Aang's still in the ice. Sokka bonks the ice with like a stick. It's not really like a sword. It's kind of like a club, I guess. And he clubs it and it opens up. Aang comes out. Aang is what the intro refers to as the Avatar. So Avatar Aang is supposed to have control over all the elements, which no one can do, by the way. I should have told you this. No one can do that. If you're like a waterbender, you're a waterbender. If you're a firebender, you're a firebender. Or if you can't bend, you can't bend. And, you know, sucks to suck. Aang, as the Avatar, is supposed to be able to control all of the elements. And this is important because he's supposed to bring peace to the world. He's supposed to be like very amicable solution to all of the world's issues. It's very important right now because the world is in hell of turmoil because Fire Nation is being dickheads. Aang is supposed to be dealing with this. Keep in mind he was frozen in ice. I forget kind of if you find out like right now, but I'll just tell you right now. He's been frozen in that ice for 100 years. So for a literal whole century, like has not been doing his fucking job. And the Avatar is like one person, so it like reincarnates. So since he hadn't died, he couldn't reincarnate, and since he was not helping the world just really spiraled into shit. In a way, it's all Aang's fault. Like in a way. Aang, I think is like 10, like maybe like 10 or 12. He's not that old. So he has to learn how to do all of the bendings. But Aang is very childish. He's very immature. But he needs to learn how to do all the bendings. Now, if you remember, Katara can bend, but she doesn't have a teacher because the South Pole is desolate. So Aang is like, all right, bet. I need to go learn how to do my shit. Oh, also, Aang has a thing that can fly. Aang has a giant bison named Appa, and it can fly. So that's transportation's not an issue. Aang's like, we can get on the bison, and we can go to the North Pole, where there are waterbenders. On their way there, they stop by where Aang used to live. Obviously, that was 100 years ago, you know? And it's like kind of definitely like a sad time. The vibes are not great because everyone is dead. They were genocided by the Fire Nation because the Fire Nation knew that the Avatar was going to stop them, and they knew that the Avatar was supposed to be an airbender, so they were like, okay, we're going to kill all the airbenders. Problem solved. Aang was upset about this, obviously, but on the plus side, very dope part of this episode, they get a little baby pet monkey named Momo. So now it's Appa, Momo, Katara, Sokka, and Aang. Aang remembers that he used to go ride this one kind of giant fish, like, and he had a good time doing it. And obviously not important right now, right? They go to ride the giant fish on Kyoshi Island. And Kyoshi Island is where a bunch of lady warrior tribe people live. And they all serve essentially under, like, their leader, whose name is Suki. Kyoshi warriors are all from Avatar Kyoshi, who was Aang's, like 2 generations prior Avatar. By the way, also, I should have mentioned this. The Avatars can kind of, like, vibe with each other. So, like, Aang can talk to the dead ones, gain their wisdom. He's supposed to be the bridge between, like, spirit issues and world issues as well. So not only does he have to solve Nazism, but he has to deal with ghosts. It's very tough. So they're on Kyoshi Island dealing with all that stuff right now, just kind of riding fish, hanging with the warriors. Zuko, oh, I should have told you this too. So in order to try to redeem himself in the eyes of his dad, he's trying to capture Aang and bring the Avatar to his dad and maybe reconcile their beef. Iroh gets captured by some Earth soldiers, and the reason this is important is because this was happening right near Aang. Instead of, like, Zuko knew, like, oh shit, the Avatar's, like, right there. Instead of capturing the Avatar, Zuko had decided to help his uncle Iroh. Zuko, from even just a few episodes prior, would not have really done that. He was a shitter, and he's learning to be better. While Aang is on Kyoshi Island, he ends up talking to, like, his previous Avatar Roku, his fucking, like, dad, essentially, I guess. He learns that there's a comet coming, like, in a few months, like, not that long. I forget how long it is away, but, like, it's, like, a few months, probably. And this comet is particularly bad because firebenders get their power from, like, fiery shit, like the sun, and comets, and waterbenders get their power from, like, the moon. So if this comet comes, essentially the firebenders are going to become super OP. They'll be, like, way too strong. I think Kyoshi Island does get burned in this episode as well. Nobody crucial gets dead. Everybody's fine. Fast forward. They end up in another small town as they're, like, traveling north. There's a group called the Freedom Fighters, and they're led by this dude named Jet, who is very questionable in morals and execution, but everybody's kind of, like, enamored with Jet. Sokka is the only one that's kind of like, I don't really vibe with you, but everybody thought that Sokka didn't vibe with Jet because dude's not vibing with dudes kind of thing. But Sokka was actually pretty on point with this because Sokka has a military mind. Jet's whole plan is, like, there's some Fire Nation people that are in an Earth town. Jet's plan is, like, okay, so we'll kill these Fire Nation people via, like, blowing up this dam, but the dam would drown all of the Earth people too. Jet was like, that's fine with me. Those casualties are fine. The only person that really kind of figured this out is Sokka. So Sokka ends up saving the town, and then they dip out. Jet kind of, like, sometimes Jet, like, comes back later, like, whatever. It's like, this next episode for me is kind of like a anime beach episode. They're in the Grand Canyon type of, it's definitely supposed to be the Grand Canyon. Like, it's not the Grand Canyon, but it's supposed to be the Grand Canyon. Aang is also on top of all of his other responsibilities, supposed to help with, like, conflict resolution on any level of a scale. Different groups of people that are going through the Grand Canyon, and they beef with each other, and Aang helps the quarrel. But it's important because they're on their way to a place called Ba Sing Se. Ba Sing Se is a city that is hella fucking weird in vibes. The vibes here are just rancid. The people say some, like, robot shit, like, everything great happens in Ba Sing Se. There is no war in Ba Sing Se. Everybody's, like, brainwashed. It's all fucking weird. Also, keep in mind, everybody is not that happy with Aang in general. It's bad because he was gone for 100 years and the whole world went to shit, and there couldn't be another Avatar because he wasn't dead. And also, people aren't chill with Zuko because the reason Zuko got banished is because when he was a kid, he was, like, in a war meeting with his dad, and they were saying some shit about how they were going to sacrifice, like, some Fire Nation soldiers, and Zuko spoke out against it as, like, a little kid. He was like, that's probably not great, like, don't do that. So in speaking out at the war meeting, he had to get challenged to fight a fucking adult. He didn't really want to fight the adult, obviously, because the adult was not going to be kind about it because these people suck. So he got burned on his face and he got banished. His face is burned, by the way. It's like handsome. So Aang has his traumas because he fled. Zuko has his traumas because he's, like, bitter. Nobody really fucks with either of them. They really kind of run like a parallel story. They need money, so Sokka gets, like, a job helping a fisherman go to do something out in the storms or whatever. And remember, I said that Aang has that trauma because when he ran away pre-freezing himself, he got caught in a storm and then had to freeze himself. So he has kind of some storm trauma. He makes it through that. There's some character development. He does pretty well. Zuko shows up and, again, sees Aang, but his crew is, like, getting fucked up by the storm. And again, he chooses to save his crew instead of fully pursuing the Avatar. So due to that storm episode, Sokka and Katara get sick. And the only person who's not sick is Aang, so Aang has to go get medicine for them. He gets kidnapped by the Fire Nation, but not by Zuko, by a dude named Zhao. He's just a piece of shit, really. So Aang gets kidnapped by the Fire Nation. Whilst kidnapped, he gets saved by somebody wearing, like, a blue, like, Oni-looking mask, like a ninja type person that has, like, 2 swords and, like, jumps around and doesn't really do any bending or anything like that, but just, like, is badass and, like, can do backflips and shit. In the middle of being saved, Aang finds out the dude in the blue mask gets knocked unconscious. Aang takes the mask off. It is Zuko. Zuko broke in and broke Aang out. Aang saves the unconscious Zuko from getting captured. Aang, like, saves him, but, like, doesn't take him with him, you know? Around this point, there's, like, kind of, like, a little bit of a vibe that's starting to take place between Aang and Katara. So they're kind of, like, getting, like, more of, like, a romantic energy toward them, but they're not, like, you know how fucking shows go. Also, by the way, Katara and Sokka's dad, this is an important part, is a general in the Water Army, because every nation has their own army. There's, like, the Earth Army, the Water Army, blah, blah. Everybody's trying to deal with, like, the Fire Nation's oppression. While they're traveling, they find a part of their dad's group. While they're chilling there, they find, like, a letter from their dad. Not them, though. They don't really find it. A letter from their dad comes to the camp saying, like, hey, blah, 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 you should come through. I heard that you're chilling. But Aang gets the letter before they do. He has all of his traumas and his insecurities as a little baby boy. He's scared that his friends are going to bail on him. He has a lot of insecurity issues. But eventually, Katara and Sokka find out and they get kind of pissed at Aang. Rightfully so. They do eventually reconcile or whatever. Oh my god, wait. Rewind a little bit. Katara has a necklace that she got from her grandma. During one of the altercations in the past, she had lost the necklace and Zuko found it. Zuko, using this necklace, he has a friend. She has a giant, like, anteater type mount. It's like a big, like a galloping, rideable, fast, like badger anteater thing. It can smell really far away and it can track things. So it smells Katara's necklace with its like anteater vase. That girl helps track them all down so Zuko can go there. They fight, they have a tussle, blah, blah, blah. Katara gets her necklace back, and the friends reconcile, and they dip out. They're heading still north to go learn waterbending. On their way north again, they stop in another Fire Nation town. I think they have disguises on at this point, but they get noticed. But the person who discovers them is not... He's like one of the 10 not shitty Fire Nationers, you know? And he says, I know of another not shitty Fire Nationer who is a bending teacher. He can teach you firebending. And again, keep in mind, Aang is so immature and just not... Head is not in the game. So him being all cocky, he's there learning firebending or whatever. He doesn't want to, like, listen. He's not listening at all to the instructions, and the guy's like, don't firebend right now. Like, just, like, you need to practice, like, the motions and shit. And he's like, So he fucking firebends, and he burns the hell out of Katara. Like, roasts her hands. And I don't know if I forget if you're exposed to this sooner or not, but side effect of waterbending, if you're goated at it, Katara's goated at it, spoiler alert, you can heal with it. So she can do some water healing, okay? They have a whole thing where they don't know, like, can I trust you, blah, blah, you're gonna hurt me again. Aang's like, I never want to firebend again, like, I'm so sorry that I hurt you, blah, blah, fucking baby. On their way north again, they now stop in the northern air temple. And by the way, like, the time frame for it's like weird in a way that it's like obviously not our world, but it kind of parallels periods in time. I feel like this is like, it's like the 1600s maybe, because they hear about people that are like flying around in the skies, and Aang's like, oh shit, maybe there's airbenders. But they go there and they are not airbenders, but they are inventors. And they're inventing things like gliders, wheelchairs, glider wheelchair combos, weapons and bombs and stuff like that. They find out that the inventor man that's in charge of this temple is working for the Fire Nation out of like fear and extortion. He made them a blimp. Pre the Avatar arriving, the Fire Nation shows up and everybody is beefing, but the Fire Nation is able to make it out with the tech for a blimp. Now the Fire Nation knows how to make blimps. This is the first really like blimp. Like the Fire Nation haven't really been able to be flying before, but now they can fly. That's problematic, but not right now. They finally make it to the North Water Tribe. When they get there, pretty much right off the rip, Sokka meets the princess of this tribe, and her name is Yue, and they immediately kind of hit it off, and they're vibing. Aang and Katara immediately kind of go to the bending teacher and start to learn bending. But the guy who teaches water bending is a bigot. So he is super misogynistic, and women cannot fight. I'm not going to teach you how to fight. You should learn how to heal. It's essentially like go to the kitchen where you belong type of vibe. This guy fucking sucks. I hate him. Meanwhile, while this is happening, while Katara is like essentially just learning how to heal and kind of like being pissed, and Aang is like learning how to fight, but he's really not great at waterbending. Princess Yue and Sokka have been flirting like a good amount, but like she's like kind of like playing coy and like hard to get. Also, while this is all happening, the Fire Nation commander Zhao is on his way north because he figured out that they were going north. Meanwhile, at night, Aang has been trying to teach Katara what he's learning, but they get caught. The misogynist teacher catches Aang teaching Katara, so Katara challenges him to a duel, beats his ass. While this is happening, Commander Zhao figures out that it was Zuko that was the dude in the blue mask that broke out Aang initially and orders a hit on his life. The assassination attempt fails. Zuko and Iroh are now kind of like going against Zhao. The misogynist waterbender teacher also realizes that Katara's necklace that she has and that she's been having this whole time, well, most of the time, was one that he made, and he gave it to his ex-fiance. So their grandma he used to love, but she dipped out from the North because she hated the North for being bigots. He was like, damn, I used to love your grandma and you're a badass. I kind of respect you. So he decides to start teaching her. While that's all happening, Sokka and Yue finally get to go on like an actual like a good real date, but she's like discloses finally that the reason that she's been being so coy is because she's actually going to be getting married. She's like engaged to somebody. There's like a light montage time skip type scenario where Tara is now like really cracked at waterbending. She's been learning. She's doing fantastic at it. Sokka and Yue have been vibing. She's still getting married to that guy, but they're like tight. They're close. They're on a date and they're flying on Appa, and Sokka notices that there's like soot in the air. Like, I know exactly what this fucking means. That means the Fire Nation's about to be here. So they scoot right back and they go up north to go tell everybody. Sokka gets assigned to protect Princess Yue. The Fire Nation has showed up. They are shooting fire. It's bad. Walls are breaking. There's explosions. It's crazy. Picture Saving Private Ryan type shit. While that's happening, Zuko is trying to do like a stealth mission so that he can capture Aang. Aang gets brought up to a spirit pool. It's like a pool that has like high concentration of like spirits. I don't know. Energy. because remember, he's the bridge of the spirit world. They're like, if we take you here, maybe you can talk to the spirits of the moon and the ocean and get their help, because obviously this is not going great. The water people are definitely taking an L right now. In the pool, there are two koi fish, like a white and a black one, and they're like spin around each other. And right when Aang kind of notices that that's what's happening, like his eyes go white and he dips out and he goes to the spirit world. When he's in the spirit world, his body is just limp there. He's just AFK. So while he's in the spirit zone, Zuko shows up on his mission, beats everybody's ass real quick, grabs Aang's lifeless body, dips out. He doesn't even know that he's been kidnapped. He has no clue. So in there, he has to talk to like this like spirit that is gonna like steal his face if he shows any emotion. It's kind of like a spirit trial essentially. But if he deals with it bad, then he'll get his face stolen and he'll be stuck there forever. Also, by the way, I don't know, I forget where the fuck that this, like, theory is born for him, but General Zhao is under, like, some convoluted mindset that his destiny, because everybody's, like, all about their destiny, like, it's, like, Aang's destiny to be the Avatar, and Zuko's destiny to redeem himself. Zhao's stupid little destiny is to kill all of the spirits. While I'm here, I'm gonna try to kill the moon and the ocean spirit too, because fuck you guys. At one point in his life, he was stationed in the Earth Kingdom, and the Earth Kingdom has like a whole bunch of knowledge. They had like the Library of Alexandria type shit, and he was in that library, and he had learned what the mortal host of the moon spirit was. Like he had the information he needed to kill the moon spirit. Aang figures out the riddle, and he figures out that the spirit for the ocean and the moon are the fucking koi fish that are back in the village. They entered the mortal world a long time ago. They turned into koi fish, and they just spin up there. Aang is like, shit, I need to get back to my body, and he fucking goes back to his body. Right at the same time that he does that, Katara and his friends had found out. They find Zuko, who is like holed up in like a blizzard, like trying to just like survive. He didn't really have a good escape plan, so they re-beat up Zuko and they get Aang back. And again, remember, the waterbenders are getting their power from the moon, and the firebenders are getting their power from the sun, okay? General Zhao shows up, and he captures the moonfish, and he takes the moonfish out of the water. And immediately, as soon as he takes it out of the water, the moon blacks out. It lunar eclipses. It's gone. So as soon as the lunar eclipse happens, the waterbenders have no power. Zhao is on a weird-ass power trip at this point, and what he does is he fucking kills the moonfish. He literally kills the spirit of the moon. He kills it. Everything goes to shit. The moon's godly form is now dead. This prompts Aang to go absolutely sicko mode on everybody. He merges with the ocean spirit. He starts just straight ravaging shit. While that's kind of happening, Iroh is there now, because I told you, Iroh's chill. So Iroh's there. Iroh is full of bountiful wisdom. He's a genius man. Iroh notices that Princess Yue, Sokka's girlfriend, has really white hair. And that meant that to some extent that she had been touched by a spirit before. So he's like, hey, have you been touched by a spirit before? Like, have you felt God? And she was like, yeah, for sure I have. When I was a baby, I almost died, but my parents took me up here and they put me in this pool, and the moon spirit gave her life and put like a part of its life into the baby. So Yue and Sokka have like this like moment where she's essentially explaining like, and she's just kind of somehow knew that this was her destiny, that she was going to give the life back. She was going to take the life that was given to her by the moon spirit and put it back into the dead koi fish and plant it back into the water and let it live again. So Sokka's girlfriend is now the moon. It's really unfortunate if that happens. You know, if that's ever happened to you, that is tough. During Aang's fit of rage, and again, he's merged with the ocean spirit finds Zhao and drowns his ass. Zuko does try to even save Zhao, and Zhao says no because of pride. So straight up, fuck Zhao, get drowned, take this L. Katara gets promoted by the Water Master to be Aang's teacher. And then the final scene really is that you flash to the Fire Lord. You haven't really seen Ozai, the Fire Lord, Zuko's dad. He's talking to somebody who you haven't seen either. Fucking plot twist. Zuko has a sister who has not been banished and is loved by her dad because she is evil as hell. And Ozai is talking to, her name is Azula, and tells Azula to go capture Zuko and Iroh for going against the Fire Nation in the North Pole battle and essentially defecting so that they could do their own thing. And that is Avatar: The Last Airbender Book 1. Water.